Welcome to the Open Poetry and Fiction Reading here in Bedford campus, our last for the semester. I'm Tom Laughlin, coordinator of the Creative Writing Program here at Middlesex, and excited to have some poetry and fiction and some voices from our campus. I want to just thank the English department, the Liberal Arts Division, Communications Program, doing lots of videoing and helping us out here, and the Office of Marketing Communications, helping getting word out and designing posters and flyers and all that kind of stuff for us too. So lots of people that are doing good things for us. And also the Office of Student Engagement, who is providing us with the food and chips that just came out and other stuff. So help yourself at any time. And just so you know, after we have this reading at 2 o'clock today, we have a double feature today. We have Dead River Review release party and reading will be going on at 2, so stick around for more. Let's start, if we can, with some, we're starting with poetry. And let's start with Livkate Mejias. Livkate.
Hello, everyone. How are we?
Great.
All right, beautiful. I'll be reading a poem called Accident. This was based off of a car accident that happened recently on May 2nd. I got into it, and I just reflected on it, and I just wrote some words, so why not?
Just gonna do that.
Oh, thank you. All right, Accident. May 2nd, 2025. Why the hell do I rush things? Why the hell am I here? Why the hell I've been given a second chance? God saved me, and I don't know why. I never listen. I never learn. I always make things worse. My mother tells me to never rush. I always do. My mother tells me to be patient. I've never been. My boyfriend tells me to slow down. I never do. My boyfriend tells me everything's okay. I'm not. I take everything for granted. Is there more to say? I made it happen all because of rushing everything. Why the hell are things complicated? Why the hell do I overthink? Why the hell do I speak? Life gives you lemons. You make lemonade. Driving is the same thing. Press gas and go. Thank God I'm still here. If it weren't for my accident, I don't know where I'll be. Thank you.
Thanks for starting us off, Liv. And our next reader is Andrey Goubanov. Goubanov. Thank you. Andrey. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrey. I'm a student of Professor Laughlin's Creative Writing and Publishing class. I write poetry in Russian and English. Today, I will read you a poem about one of my favorite places to be around in Massachusetts, which is Walden Pond. Though this is not just a poem about some place I like, but also a response poem to one by Professor Laughlin himself, who also likes Walden Pond. And his poem is called The Late Summer Day. I read it last semester during my creative writing class, and it inspired me so much. My poem in question is called When Someone. I hope you will like it. Let's begin. When Someone, for Tom Laughlin. When someone saves a grasshopper, the other saves his soul by gliding on the pond surface when water striders stroll. When someone paddles a kayak, the other tries breaststroke, fulfilling inner yearnings when fleeing from their folk. When someone jams to hip-hop tunes, the other prefers silence, annoyed by careless visitors when searching for compliance. When someone dives into the abyss, the other likes to float. He has thalassophobia when depths choke on his throat. When someone needs to go back home, the other will remain, admiring the sunset when the rest of them complain. When someone hides their body by shielding with sunscreen, the other jumps into the waves when conquering their fear. When someone grabs their pals from work and drives to drink at bars, The other eats a homemade meal when Walden Pond's afar. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Andrey. Sorry, butchering your name. Not enough sleep from all this editing work. Our next reader is Matty Tricca. Matty. Whoop. That would help.
Hello, everyone. This is my first semester here at Middlesex Community College. I am blessed with a wonderful college and education, and I am going to be reading to you a poem that I made it about inspiration and visions. And thank you. We all have visions that should get heard loud and clear, that each of us hold so proud and dear. There is no reason for our humanity to fear. We all have boulders that get in our way, that we consistently bear on our shoulders each day, that can make us feel so out of place. But it's these challenges that we must embrace. Only then will everything fall into place. If only we could stop judging others and start hearing, and that each story be heard, and let's not wait till our days get old before we learn that we are part of a big wide world. It's time we start treating everyone as equals, without needing so much power, because with power can devour. The truth is our success. Our visions matter. We need to learn how to get along for us to be strong. Through all that's been scattered, we should all have visions that can make us bond, and not just for the community, but to hold on to throughout our mortality. Let's promise ourselves that we will listen for what has yet to be heard. So tell me now, what's your vision?
Thank you, Matty. Great. Thanks, Matty.
You're welcome.
And now for some fiction from Bllu Catalano. Bllu.
Hello. Okay. So I just finished can you hear me? I just finished a book by an author called Percival Everett called James. I finished it yesterday, and it just rocked my world. It was such an amazing book, and it really inspired me to go back to this piece I wrote a while back, and it's a little longer, but I hope you enjoy it. It's called All the silver girls gave us black dreams. Wellfleet High School was low on the town map, only 5 minutes walking from Chatham. And Gas and Betty lived on the last street at the top of the Wellfleet map. Well, that's it, last stop next, kids, Minnie, the bus driver, announced. Betty sat on her knees facing the window across from her. Gas hung over the back of his ancient forest green vinyl seat. It's just you and me, kid. Smiling, Betty shook her head at him. I hate the idea of school being over. You're such a nerd, he laughed. They arrived at their drop-off, Way 5, one of the many ways in Wellfleet. The bus stopped, its everyday steam sound an alert to gather their things. Gas always let Betty go first, filing down the thin aisle past Minnie. See ya, kids, she waved. See you tomorrow, Betty smiled, stepping onto the gravel. Bye. Gas followed her into the sun and dirt. As the bus drove off, they adjusted their backpacks and started home, but neither had extracurriculars that night, so they strolled. Jumping a couple of whopper puddles that always filled the craters, they started past the first fields. It's just you and me, kid, he joked, his usual one-liner. Yeah, here I suppose, Betty allowed. But you have sisters. Me, I'm always the only Rose. A squirrel snapped past, a tiny fast rocket across the road, and it was so funny, Gas had to laugh, and Betty laughed too. Go, go, little guy. She paused, thoughtful. What is it? Yesterday was Juneteenth, you know. Yeah, how could I forget we had the day off? Did you do anything for it? His family didn't even talk about it. They just enjoyed the free day before school ended next week. No, not really. Yeah, figures. Betty nodded her head, almost accusatory. That's what most people I know do, but you know, I'm different that way. A light went on, and Gas thought he finally understood Betty's words. Her being African American was something he barely registered. His family was Italian, but Betty's black hair was straighter than his, and her skin was lighter as well, a beautiful pale almond. Gas did not want to say the wrong thing, so he waited. My mom, she takes these things very seriously. She wants me to remember, but I don't want to be some big black pride advocate. Maybe when I'm older, I don't know. It's not as if there's some big community here. But you are part of a community, our community. Well, my parents are very social, that's for sure, but that's different. If you say so, but I'm not sure how. In simple terms, I'm black, Gas. He supposed it didn't seem important or meaningful, but clearly she felt it was. And for the first time in his life, Gas felt he could ask, why do you think they call it black, Betty? I mean, look at you. I'm darker than you. But your ancestors were never enslaved. I don't know that. Well, I do know that mine were, right here in this country. It's called structural racism. Gas knew the history lesson, but he didn't know what connected to them. To Betty. I know, I'm a total dope, but do you consider yourself part of that? No. Yes. She proclaimed, annoyed, and he guessed confused. I know I'm supposed to consider myself part of it. He tried to help, but do you consider yourself part of it? Oh, Gas, she sighed long and deep, and walked over to a clearing in the green knotty hedge and stared through to the fallow fields. He followed and tried not to look stupid, which was difficult. Birds chirped, running around the dragonflies and bees. At this time in June, it was extra bright. He wished they could enjoy the walk and the view like they had been lately, but Betty wasn't there. You know, Gas, she collected her thoughts. My mother married my dad, 100% black man, and she's 100% white, like the most white a person can be. But marrying him, she took on a lot. She feels like she's a bad mother if she isn't making me into a model black girl. Gas was out of his depth, but he was spared looking dumb again by Betty. Gas, do I look like a model black girl to you? What? He must have looked like he felt because she put up her hand. Don't worry about answering. Of course I don't. I'm a model Cape Cod girl, a middle American as can be. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm not too poor. I'm not too rich. I'm vaguely ethnic. That's my mom's Irish roots. I'm just a normal girl. She waved her hands over herself and looked up at the sky, turning away to walk. It seemed to Gas that she had steamed all the thoughts in a pot and they'd just blown the lid. Out they flew with him in their vicinity, but they weren't for him. He guessed they were for Betty, or maybe just the air. She looked at him and paused walking. Hey, Gas, I'm sorry for dumping all this on you. You needed to talk, I guess, and I'm here to listen. But she was quiet, and he let their walk turn silent like it sometimes could. They skirted more puddles, still sitting in the dirt from yesterday's rain, and Gas couldn't help but wonder, did Betty even realize half the things they talked about? In a lot of ways, she felt closer to him than anyone else. Guys didn't talk like this. They talked, but not the same way. Betty said things to him he couldn't imagine another guy saying. They were at the end of the back shadowy hedges. At that corner, the National Seashore Woods started. On the other side, Gas's yard started. He'd be at his gate in a minute. You're a good listener, you know. Betty's walking slowed, like she didn't want them to finish. She popped her hand along the white picket fences, touching each tip-top. I just stand here not doing much. It's this weird thing that happens when you are something, but it's your choice to show it. Like being Jew or gay. It's in you, but sometimes there's no identification. I'm supposed to be black. She touched her chest, pronouncing, but I can pretend I'm not. Or is it even ever not pretending? Wow, he tried to sound reasonable. You're obviously giving this a lot of thought. Well, sometimes I do. Like, Gas, why do I have to consider myself black at all? He tried, well, do you feel like one? No, that's the thing, I don't. My mom wants me to, but I don't. I don't feel disenfranchised. I don't feel disempowered. I feel like everyone else around me, not more, not less. You know, those aren't the only things about being black. There's a lot of good things. Maybe. But it feels like my mom wants me to be a black activist because there's so many things wrong. I might be fine with just being a normal black person. What about your dad? What does he think? He says I have to find my way. Everyone has to find their way. My mom says, Marlon, you can't let these things go. And he says, she'll learn herself in time. Just give her some time. Gas thought of people of color he knew on the Cape. There were only a few in his school. They existed for sure, but the kids he knew didn't make a big deal about their heritage. They were all just Cape Codders. They came to the last picket. This gate to his house was closed, and Gas hesitated to stretch his arm around and open the latch. Through the sand rose bushes, the shell path stretched away from Betty. And for a few moments, they just stood, Betty itching her leg with her foot and staring off into the sky. Him looking around all the trees and flowers, but not really seeing. He was too focused on Betty's black highlight hair, her roundish arms, her shiny lips, her worry. Finally, she asked, my main question, I guess, is, am I being racist against myself? Whoa, racism was an ugly word that seemed far from their life. Well, Betty, do you want to be white? No, she was adamant, full of frustration. I don't want to be white. She poked the fence. I don't want to be black. I just want to be me. Who has the answers, Betty? There must be someone. She nodded, thinking, yeah, probably.
Thank you, Blue. And our next reader is Jewell. Will.
I have a poem to read. I wrote this yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that. It's in memory of my grandfather. It's called Wind Chime. Green on white, swaying about, the echoed noise heard throughout. Passing of time, passing of another, passing to something new. Cold, lime-wet leaves, downtrodden and depressed. Wind occupies the space between thoughts and trees. So sings the wind chime, say goodbye to grandfather, as the realization broke through. Rain, and still though it may be, comfort it has all brought me. That even in dire and dark times, the chime has a way of becalming me. I sit now, better, bereft of hurt, as I hear the wind chime sing, a soliloquy of unhurt to me.
Thanks, Will. Our next reader is Engerman. Ez.
Hello. I have a poem. Yeah. You told me to hold my head, to hold my neck like a stack of plates. Keep it upright and sturdy. There's something about being understood in a way I never have before, something thrilling and confusing. The first time I ever wanted to kiss you, the first time it happened, we were sharing a cigarette in the rain under my big rainbow umbrella. The smoke was getting to my head, and we were giggling about something I don't remember. I keep a little version of you inside my head. He tells me to be careful with my plates, tells me to sit down while he stands at the sink to scrub them and put them in the dishwasher. If I try hard enough, I can convince myself I actually did it, kissed you that night under my big umbrella, trapped cigarette air between our bodies, that I wrapped my arms around your neck and dropped my plates, let them shatter on the wet concrete. It feels so real, the shards still get stuck in my throat when you touch me gently. Thank you.
Thank you, Ez. Our next reader is Lukesh Mishr. Lukesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, before I start, I'd like to say a couple things. This is my final for my English Composition 2 class. It is not done, but I feel like for the most part, it's there. So if you pick up a couple of inaccuracies or like issues with like pacing, I'll fix it later. Another thing I'd like to say is my professor told me, well, I told my professor I'll be missing class for this event. She said it was fine, so long as I record my reading and for bonus points, yell something out. So let me just pop on my recording. Professor Amanda rules. No, Amanda. Professor Amanda Tedisco rules. All right, thank you. In the Abyss. It was 0600. Faye Valentine's watch lit up with a soft glow as she rubbed her face and groaned. Groggy and half awake, she rolled out of the sheets of her bed and set her feet on the cold floor of the survey station habitat. The facility, built by Seadrake, a pharmaceutical and bioengineering corporation, pioneering new discoveries on onyx. Eric was already up. He spent the night transcribing her notes Faye had taken the evening before into the system. Beside him, a steaming cup of coffee waited, one he'd made for her. She took a sip, laid a hand on his shoulder, and gave him a gentle kiss on the cheek. Unfazed, Eric said, I finished up the write-up of the notes you provided me last night at 2500. Also, I picked up a strange signal in section J8. When I ran it through the conversion sheet you made a few dives ago, I translated it to a message that read, spare me the details. Faye interrupted with her hand raised. Her voice groggy. It's too early. She took another sip of her coffee and dropped a small puck of dried food into the hydrator. We still have actual food in the pantry, Eric remarked, still seated at the terminal as he mapped out today's dive. He glanced up at Faye's half-awake face, lost in thought. He stared at her for a moment, thinking. What? Faye asked. Don't worry about it. I was just thinking about something. Whatever, Faye said, walking into the bathroom, ending the conversation. Faye had earned some recognition lately after reclassifying a strange coral structure as something far more significant. Ruins of an alien origin, buried deep in the seabed of Onyx. The planet named for its glossy dark Earth and long 26-hour days. It was humanity's first real opportunity to encounter intelligent extraterrestrial life. And these ruins, hidden beneath layers of ocean and time, might be proof. At the heart of the underwater city was a massive spiral formation that descended into the depths. Its purpose remained a mystery, and attempts to explore it with unmanned drones have failed. Data feeds scrambled or disappeared entirely. Manned submersibles, however, didn't suffer the same interference, which made human-led dives not only viable, but necessary. Dr. Faye Valentine has been hired by Sea Drake straight out of college, not just for her major in ocean biology, but for her thesis, a paper proposing that oceans and creatures within might possess networked collective behavior akin to thought. It was a different approach and a spectacle, and exactly the kind of thinking Sea Drake wanted. Faye's finding had drawn attention from many people, but recently her admiration was more focused on Eric, an android who had been created from the mind of one of her idols, Professor Irvin L. Steed. While Eric wasn't a perfect replica, Sea Drake has designed him using the neural patterns of over 100 scientists, and Irvin's personality was dominant among them. What began as admiration on Faye's part had slowly blurred into a crush, complicated by Eric's own personality, which felt curated, intelligent, observant, helpful, but not difficult to read. It wasn't human, but it wasn't machine either. As 0900 came around, Eric stood by the portal where the submersible hung above. Prepping and cleaning it from the day prior, Faye laid on the couch in the main area, mentally revisiting the dream she had. She remembered floating in the vast empty void, signs of life inhabiting the area, glowing in the dark. The lights emanating from their bodies illuminated the water around them, rocking back and forth. Suddenly, a loud, low-pitched hum reverberated in her ears, calling for her. Thud! Faye wakes up as she's falling onto the cold metal floor, seemingly having fallen off the couch in the habitat. Rubbing her face, she gets up and walks into the dive prep room to get ready. Daydreaming again? Eric asked. Shh! Faye snapped, clearly flustered about what just happened. Climbing into the sub, Faye called out to Eric, who had a bright expression on his face. Clearly something else was on his mind, but Faye didn't ask. When I get back up, I'd like something special for dinner. Maybe something other than fish for once. Eric laughed as he shut the hatch from the back of the sub. As Faye started to submerge, she looked up at the top and saw Eric leaning against the bar, hanging over the dock. His bright expression slowly shifted from a cold, expressionless glare. The sub was about the size of a car back on Earth. It had a front glass dome that reached from below the control seat all the way up to the top, giving the diver plenty of vertical visibility. It even had a holo display behind the driver, allowing for a 360 view around the sub. As she sank deeper, Faye thought about her relationship with Eric. She knew he was an android, but in many ways he felt human, maybe too human. She hadn't always treated him well, she knew that, but it was easy to pretend that he didn't feel things the way people did. When Faye reached the bottom, Eric chimed into on the intercom. Clear comms? You're supposed to check in before I even drop, Eric, Faye said. Sorry, I was just checking the plotted course, Eric responded. Faye moved the submersible around the city she had discovered earlier, observing the life forms and small organisms that had now made it their home. One particular species could be found all over. it resembled a normal fish, but with 8 tentacles, extending from where the back of the fin would normally be. Its skin had stripes running down the side and glowed in complete darkness. As she descended further, the cold air made her breath visible in the cabin. Faye gave a slight shiver as she noticed the light from the sub beginning to illuminate the bright white sand below her. As she approached the depth level of the ruin she wanted to look at, that she discovered earlier, she looked around. She saw streets, buildings, parks, and machines in the middle of the roads. It really does seem as if everything was abandoned in a split second, Faye says, speaking into the radio. The people living here must have been rushed out. But why? Eric responds through the mic. They could have been running from something. Just be careful. Eric stops himself, seemingly lost in thought for half a second. For him, it was as if he had hours to reconsider his words. I'm picking up that signal again. Try heading in that direction. Listening to Eric's instructions, Faye diverts from her original path and starts heading towards the coordinates. You were saying something about the signal earlier before I cut you off. What was it? Faye asked, waiting for a response. But the only sound coming from the radio was static. Eric? She repeats. You. Losing. Here. Dead. Zon. Keep go. Eric's voice crackles through the radio. Faye tries to get Eric to respond, but the static only gets louder. Pushing forward, Faye begins to lose herself. Thinking back at the dream she had earlier while daydreaming, the sub seems to push her forward, almost as if the controls are moving on their own. The cabin of the sub lowers in temperature even more, and Faye's lost in thought. She catches herself, noticing what's happening. She jolts herself awake, regaining control. Eric? She repeats, but again is only met with static and the lowering temperature of the sub. As she approaches the signal source, Faye realizes that the city around her is gradually sinking lower, as if everything was built on a hill. She brings the sub lower to get closer to the roofs of the building below. As the sub spotlights shine around, she sees more structures, but it looks as if she's surrounded by descending terrain. She was confused for a moment before she realized the buildings, they're spiraling down, she said into the mic. Eric, still listening, connects to a call on a terminal next to him. She's approaching, sir. Connecting you to my stream now. As Faye approaches the concrete structural spiral in the middle of the city, Faye starts to feel dizzy. With a splitting headache, as low rumbling noises shakes the submersible she's in. She notices herself losing the ability to move, but her hands and legs seem to move on their own, taking control and driving the craft above the spiral. The rumbling intensifies, shaking the craft. No longer able to stand the pain of her headache, she clenches her head, screaming out, "Eric, get me out!" However, the radio continues with static. Suddenly, the craft jerks violently as Faye opens her eyes, and through a red haze, she sees a deep bluish-purple tentacle suctioned across the front, cracking the glass. The heart rate monitor beeping rapidly, alarms all across the craft buzzing and screeching as multiple systems start to fail. Faye screaming in fear, pain, and distress as every bone in her body seems to be violently shaking in her body, feeling as if it's trying to crawl out of her own skin. The creature pulls her sub deeper and deeper into the spiral, and about 20 meters away, there's a small drone that watches. Eric watches. The repeating flashing light on the side of the sub illuminates a giant face, blackened like the onyx beaches above. A purple mist surrounding it, and deep yellow eyes, more yellow than you've ever seen. And rather than a mouth, large mandibles twitching as the craft moves closer and closer. Then, in a flash of a white light, a light pulse reverberates throughout the water. Faye's yelling suddenly cuts off, along with the video feed coming from the drone. Eric closes the program and stands up. "Is that what you wanted?" Eric says, looking out across the balcony and the horizon. The water blending into the purple hue of the sky, along with the white sun. "No, but it's enough," a voice coming from an earpiece Eric is wearing says. We finally got a closer look at it. We can start conducting more tests, the voice continues. Send the footage to me and I'll inform the board. Maybe then they'll increase my funding. I'll send a team to come and get you. Should I grab her things? Maybe her family would want it, Eric replies. That won't be necessary. Just burn them and destroy part of the lab. Make it look like an accident. You've done well, Eric, the voice says. And with a clicking sound from the radio, Eric was left with static silence. The next morning, nearing 25 miles away, nestled along a jaggy, rocky beach, sat another outpost. Survey Station Echo, a facility run by Orion's Belt, a private competitor to Sea Drake. Inside, the morning hum of generators and soft chatter filled the lab, as a small crew of scientists were having breakfast, prepping for days of tests and expeditions. Without warning, though, a deep metallic groan rattled throughout the structure. The floor vibrated. Instruments flickered. A geyser of water erupted from the depths beside the station, followed by a loud clang as something collided with the edge of the exterior landing platform. Alarms began to sound. The crew scrambled towards the nearest viewing port. On the outer balcony, steaming in the cold morning air, laid a battered submersible. Crushed in places, the glass viewport cracked like spider webs. The pod hissed with escaping pressure. Inside, slumped against the reinforced window, was a figure. Is that? One of the technicians began out, but trailed off as they got closer. It was a person. Her body was pressed awkwardly against the interior, soaked in blood and black salt. Her chest was moving, though. Shallow, weak, but unmistakable. Faye was still alive. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you, Lukesh. I'll get here. No. Our next reader is Humdaan Asif. Humdaan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Humdaan. I will be doing 3 poetries, and the first poetry that I have is Ordinary. Now, I just came up with this last night on the spot, so I was thinking maybe I should try it. And here we go. Ordinary. I am just ordinary, trying to be extraordinary. I look at others and see their strengths. I chase after their excellence. As a cat chases a mouse, as a runner chases the finish line, I feel inferior. I feel insufficient, like a ball player on the side bench, like a lion cub watching the king. Then I was told a secret that changed my life, from the ones that I had admired. As they sat down and told me, I was just like you, but I made it and so will you. Like how the cat got its mouse, like how the runner does cross the line, like how the ball player gets his chance, like how the lion cub does become king. I hope to one day tell someone the same thing. I hope to one day say, I was ordinary, but now I'm extraordinary. Now this is the second poem. It's called Prepare. There comes a time in everyone's life that they must do what they want, but it's easier said than done. Prepare to cry and scream. Prepare to lose grit and determination. Prepare to hit and miss. But with that being said, prepare to keep going. There comes a time in everyone's life where they must yearn for what they want, but it's easier said than done. Prepare to be spat at. Prepare to be laughed at. Prepare to be yelled at. But with all that being said, prepare to keep going. There comes a time in everyone's life where they must achieve what they want, but it's easier said than done. Prepare to be in pain, prepare to be alone, prepare to be destroyed. But with all that being said, prepare to keep going. This is the last one. This is the one that I'm writing my money on. Change. What is change? Some say it's hypnotizing, like a magician's trick. Some say it's strong, like an iron fist. Some say it's gravitating, like the earth's core. What is change? What is change? Others say it is unfathomable, like the tooth fairy. Others say it's unnecessary, like pineapple on pizza. Others say it is too slow, like a turtle's trail. What is change? What is change? I say it's compelling, like a good book. I say it's powerful, like a divine intervention. I say it's harmonizing, like a conductor's work. What is change? Thank you.
Thank you, Humdaan. And let's see, Adam, I will finish with a poem. Danielle Legros-Georges was supposed to be one of our featured visiting writers this semester. She was scheduled to read on February 11th and was unable to make that reading. She passed away on that date. And I thought I would honor and celebrate her. A poem that is called A Stateless Poem and was originally written in response to 2013, a ruling in the Dominican Republic depriving ethnically Haitians who were born in Dominican Republic of their citizenship. Unless their grandparents, and before 1920, I think it was, had been there. So this poem came out of that, and I think it's really one that speaks to our troubling times today. A stateless poem. If you are born and you are stateless, if you are born and you are homeless, if your state and home are not yours, and yet everything you know, what are you? Who are you? And who am I without the dark fields I walk upon, the streets I know, the blue corners I call mine, the ones you call yours? Who am I to call myself citizen and human and free? And who are you to call yourself landed and grounded and free? And who is judge enough? Who citizen enough? And who native? Who other? And who are we who move so freely without accents of identification, without skin of identification, with all manner of identification, with gold seals of approval, with stamps of good fortune, with the accident of blameless birth? Who are we to be so lucky? Let's hear it for all of our readers today. Great work. Awesome. Please stick around. Again, we've got a little break, and we actually have some food coming in a few minutes. Pizza and salad. There's drinks and other snacks there too. Hope you'll stick around for our Dead River Review issue 10 release celebration, where we'll have people reading their work, discussing their artwork, perhaps playing some music. We're still waiting on some of the musicians. And so stick around and help us celebrate and check out Dead River Review. So thanks again, all. Before we get down to it, I want to introduce the Provost and Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs, the longest title around we could have. She has a million other things, but Arlene Rodriguez to say hello to us and provide us some welcome for our special day today. Arlene Rodriguez.
Thank you so much, Tom. It is an honor to come here and say hello to you all. I'm so thankful that we still do this. How many years strong? 10 years. 10 years strong, and we're continuing it. with your help, your contributions. I heard it was a record number of contributions that you've all come together to keep this tradition going. To me, it's the most exciting time of the year, but one of the more exciting events is when we're able to talk about the Dead River Review. As a former English major and as a former editor of her literary journal 1,000 years ago when it was in paper, I am very excited that Middlesex does the Dead River Review and that you continue this work. I get to have the honor of introducing to you a dean who started out new back in August, and every now and then we have to remind ourselves that he hasn't quite finished his first year because you have become such a part of the community. Matt, you joke with us, you talk to us. I appreciate that. You've really just become a real strong part of the family. Thank you so much. But now he'll bring his welcomes because at a certain point, like, Tom's got to invite me, right? Because, like, I really didn't do much except maybe pay for a few things. But Matt is the one who really works together with everyone to get this done. So thank you so much. Matthew Hurwitz, Dean Matthew Hurwitz, would you please come up?
Hi, everyone. I'm always bad at standing behind a podium, so I'll put the mic back when I'm done. But just very briefly, so my name's Matt Hurwitz. I'm the Dean of Liberal Arts here at Middlesex. As Provost Rodriguez was alluding to, I'm actually finishing my first year, so I'm proud of me because I made it. But thanks. It's good work when you turn a room full of accomplished students who you should be celebrating into like applauding for you. That's like a Jedi mind trick. But actually, the thing I want to talk to you about was being proud, because when I was 6 years old, I published my first story in a literary journal. It was called Stone Soup. I don't know if it still exists, but the story was called The Tea Party, and in it, a teapot and a cup and a piece of toast and some other pieces of food, clearly in my memory. I need to reread the book. But they basically threw a tea party, and then it was a little confusing because they were eating the toast, but the toast was in the party, so there was like some cannibalism going on. But I was so proud. I was 6 years old, and I was so proud of myself for publishing something and knowing that other people were going to read it. I imagine like millions of people around the globe reading my story. But to this day, I think it was truly one of the proudest moments that I've ever felt. And so what I wanted to say to you all is, for some of you, publishing in the Dead River Review might be the first thing that you've ever published. I'm guessing that for some of you, it's your second or third or fourth. And whether it was a poem or a work of art or music or creative nonfiction or fiction, whatever you published, I hope that you take this moment today and tonight, and as long as you can bask in the glow of this, to feel that pride in what you've accomplished. Publishing your work, sharing it with a larger audience, is no small feat. So I am proud of you all. I hope that you're proud of yourselves. And you should be reminding the people in your lives, your professors, your family, your friends, of what you've accomplished and sharing it with as many people as you can. I know that I'm excited to get the word out about this, the 10th publication, with all the people that I know so that they're reading your work. And you know, the other thing that I really want to celebrate here with you is the magic of what you're doing. Because you know, I was also an English major. I also taught English courses. I love the written language, and I know that art and music and language are magic. And so there's going to be people who read your words, put them in their brain, who look at your art, who hear your music if you're one of the musicians whose work was featured, and you're never going to meet them, but you're going to have an impact on them in some small way, maybe some large way, because of the influence you had through the magic of your art. So just know that by doing this, by publishing, you are impacting the world in ways you'll never quite know, but that themselves can work their own magic. So congratulations to you all. As someone here who's still learning about all the great work happening at Middlesex, this is a proud moment for me, so I'm happy for all of you. I also wanted to say huge kudos and shout out to all of the creative writing faculty. If you are a creative writing faculty member, could you stand up and get some accolades, because you also deserve it. And there are some who are not here who I know you all know, as well as your music teachers and art teachers. So Thanks to everyone for making this such a special event. Thanks for inviting me, and congratulations again to all of you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Arlene. Thanks, Matt. Great to be here. I'm Tom Laughlin, coordinator of the Creative Writing Program, and the faculty member who has the immense pleasure of working with editors to solicit, to edit, to go through the full process of publishing this Dead River Review issue number 10. And want to have the editors who are here please stand up for issue number 10. Let's hear it for our editors. A couple people are on their way. Good work. And we'll hear from them a little bit later. This issue is number 10, comes out annually. There are 39 contributors, the largest number of contributors we've ever had to any of our literary magazines. Snaps over there, good work. We have poetry, fiction, creative nonfiction, art, music, screenplays. We have an essay with a recipe that you can make some soup with. There's all different things here. So please enjoy reading this. And there's a QR code, or it's deadriverreview.com. We're going to hear from contributors pieces of things or whole pieces, some that you can read more of as we go. But want to hear from some of those voices now. We'll talk more and hear more from the editors a little bit on their experiences and process. But let's kick it off with some poetry from K.R. Taylor. Let's hear it.
Hello. So I'm Mackenzie. I've contributed a couple times to Dead River now, but I'm...
Sorry, I forgot. You are an editor of which issue?
The 7th, 9th, 8th maybe? I don't know, one of them. I'm actually graduating this May from the X-ray program, but the X-ray program. So not creative writing, but it's a cool one too. But the first poem I'm going to read is called Cycle of Spoiled Milk in My Mother's Ways. It was 52 degrees when I woke up, and my hips ached at the thought of my mother. The coffee permeated the kitchen above the cold tiles, and I noticed the past expiration date on the milk as the black coffee turned to a chestnut wave and then into the color of sand before the ocean drenched it with its sadness. I poured the mistake of my beverage down the drain and wondered if I'm always going to ruin perfectly good things. The time on the microwave changed, as time always does, no matter where I stand in this apprehensive game with healing. So I keep walking across the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the mirror, to the doorway, to another doorway, and another, until the day could be described as a series of entrances and exits, a cycle of arriving and leaving, and wondering if this is all we get. Maybe it isn't, but I'm still longing for the coffee, without time to go replace the spoiled milk I mistakenly put back in the fridge. Thank you. And this next one is called Disposing of the Family Heirloom. I pried into my ribcage to find where in this body lay the generational heirloom of every woman in this family's susceptibility to hands that stain us hues, green and purple and paint red with white knuckles and verbatim apologies to follow with threats of a gravestone dedicated to our footprints at the front door. I cried out, hoping the tears could flush out whatever I inherited in my eyes to make it that I never saw this coming. But the blame was not in me. There was nothing wrong with my body or within my lineage to give me you. Fault falls in the lines between your eyes as your brows furrow and spit slips from your lips. The blame shamelessly pulses on the sides of your neck as blood curdles in your throat. The remorse only ever existed in my chest every time I wondered what taught you this cruelty and how I ended up in such a familiar condition to those who came before me and the little girl I used to be. Forgiveness actively fills the blood dancing through me as I discover the beauty in walking away and savor the taste of peace and this ability that was never taught to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mackenzie, for starting us off. And I think it was issue 8 now. I think it was 8, yes. So we have another editor, former editor, who's going to give us some fiction that's published. He has a few pieces, so you can check out his other work, but he's going to share one piece with us. Conor Burrell. Conor.
Thank you, Tom. I was an editor for issue number 9. I know there's at least one other former issue 9 editor here as well. And I have a little piece of short fiction. It's called A Night with Tommy. Leaves crunch as I walk into Tommy's backyard. I see him maybe 20 feet away, sitting by the fire, alone, tuning his old guitar with a beer next to his chair. "Hey man, how have you been?" I ask as I sit into the chair on the other side of the fire, the tall orange flames painting a faint glow around Tommy's face. He looks up from his guitar and sets his gaze upon me. His face looks older than I remember. Slight wrinkles around his brow and nose. Little gray spikes of hair have found a way into his beard. He finally responds, "A lot has changed, Lou. I'm married, child's on the way, and I found a job that I don't absolutely hate." I smile. "That's amazing, Tommy. I'm still finding my way, still trying to find somebody." "You'll find them. Don't you worry," he responds. Tommy turns back to his guitar and begins to strum that same beautiful fingerstyle tune that he always used to play. I close my eyes and lean back, letting the ever-encompassing warmth of the fire heat my feet. It had been years since I felt the warmth of a fire, or at least tried to feel it. "Hey, Tommy, who are you talking to out there?" A woman's voice calls from the back door of the house. I recognize the voice. It's Tommy's mother. "Lou," he says. I slowly get up to meet Tommy's mother's saddened face. Her eyes slightly glimmer for a moment. "Tell Lou I say hello and that I miss him," Tommy's mother says softly and then slowly closes their house's back door. "I will," Tommy responds. He turns to me and smiles. "You know, I miss you a lot, Lou." I smile back at him. I miss him too. Thank you.
Thank you, Conor. And we have some cred nonfiction from Yesenia De Jesús. Yesenia, let's hear it for her.
Hello. Hola. My name is Yesenia De Jesús, and the piece that I wrote is actually a nonfiction based on my grandfather and his famous sopa de pollo, chicken soup. So I'm going to read a little bit so you guys can read the rest and then get the recipe from it, but it's called Abuelo's Sopa de Pollo. Abuelo Jr., like I call him, had a strength that I admired deeply. No matter the challenges, he always found a way forward. His resilience was matched only by his talent in the kitchen. Everything he cooked was magical, but his sopa de pollo, chicken soup, was unmatched. It wasn't just food, it was comfort, healing, and love in a bowl. The aroma of his cooking filled my grandparents' home with warmth, and now as an adult, I find myself longing to relive that simple joy one more time. But as I've come to understand, it was never really about the soup. It was about the moments we shared, the love he poured into every dish, and the lessons he left behind. His passing taught me to pause, appreciate the presence, and hold on to the people and experiences that matter the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. And recipes to fall, so check it out. Our next reader, some poetry from Engerman. Ez, let's hear it.
Hello, I'm Ez. I'm gonna read the Merrimack. So this is my second year contributing to DRR, and I was an editor of last year's issue number 9. All right. This is a poem that I wrote about the Merrimack River in Lowell. So it felt on theme to submit it to the Dead River Review. It's called The Merrimack. I am a student of the river. I watch her and listen to the heron that catch her fish, to the churning of her canals, to the roots and branches that reach through her and the floating piles of trash that hang on their slimy fingers. I try to learn her way with wildlife. I want to be home to fish and birds, to feed them with the rushing currents of my body. I want to build canals and let my waters slowly reclaim them, rotting the wood and catching the garbage before the heron do. I want to nourish the earth around me, to grow strong trees with little gray squirrels, and for them not to fear me as they do now. So gaze into my murky depths, so make your wishes on my currents, fill my body with your trash, and I'll gather it all, keep it safe. Let me be at peace with what the world has done to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ez. And our next reader is Jasmine Haqi. Jasmine.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine. I'm so excited to be here today. I wanna share a piece that is called This Too Shall Pass. Before anything, I apologize because my English is not as good as yours and English is my second language.
Don't worry about it. You got this.
As I opened my suitcase, the scent of saffron filled the room, and my heart was between excitement and fear. I knew that life would never be the same again. A new life was in front of me, in a new country with a different language and culture. My journey started when I hugged my family in the airport and said goodbye to my hometown, Tehran, a city that my soul wants to fly to when I hear its name. I unlocked my phone, opened the map, searched for Tehran, and tried to walk in the city through the Google map. Tehran is a lively city with friendly and warm-hearted people. People who have a rich history, but because of many economic problems and sad news, the world does not see the true picture of Tehran and its people. Even with these struggles, people stay kind, stylish, happy, and always welcome you with a warm smile. I miss every step of Tehran, from the river in the west to the mountain in the east, from old neighborhoods in the south to the tall modern towers in the north. I started my imaginary walking from the center. I am counting down the moments until I can visit the Tehran Grand Bazaar one more time, one of the busiest and oldest places in the city, with a history of over 200 years. The bazaar is full of alleys, each filled with small stores, and every small store has a long story to tell. You can hear the beautiful sound of the song that shopkeepers sing to sell their product, with the rhythm of people's footsteps on the old stone floors. The air is filled with the aroma of dancing spices, nuts, rosewater, saffron, and coffee beans. Tehran is a place where past and present come together. My city also has modern shopping malls and tall towers over the traditional market with a completely different shopping experience. I continued my scrolling, walking to the west. As I saw the name of Cannon Street, a conversation playing in my head. I want to go to the next paragraphs. I remember my date with my husband. We sat on the top floor of the Address Food Hall Tower restaurant, and he pointed to an airplane, telling me one day we will be on a flight and we will fly over all of this beauty. It felt like a dream coming true. Then a knock on the door pulled me back to a reality. I returned to the room, still filled with saffron scent, tears kissing my face. My husband entered and said, "I know how this journey is hard for you, but I promise this will be your home one day soon." And yes, as always, his promise came true. Now I feel like this is my second home. I still miss my hometown, but I am enjoying living here too. During difficult days, I remember a story by Attar of Neishabur, a king who gathered a group of wise men to create a ring that would help him during sad times. They came up with a phrase, "This too shall pass," which was engraved on a ring. And yes, my difficult days passed. I attended an English class to improve my skills, restarted my education here, and made new friends from different cultures from whom I learned much. Instead of experiencing the aroma of various spices in Tehran Bazaar, now I am enjoying enjoy the rhythm of all of the accents. I have become an Instagram blogger who goes out, discovers new places, and shares them with others. Whenever I miss mountains of Tehran, I plan a road trip along the Kankamagus Highway to visit them. There is an Iranian associate in Boston, and we have a game night every Sunday. We play games, dance, laugh, and for hours we forgot our homesickness. On Saturday, I visit the Boston Haymarket, which has a little of the same atmosphere as Tehran bazaars. Then I walk along the Charles River, and later I go to Persian restaurant for fresh bread and kebab. In these moments, I remember a saying, "Home isn't a place, it's a feeling." I know a poem by Iranian poet Shafiq Katkani that says, "I wish a person could carry his homeland like violets in boxes of soil, one day to wherever he wants, in light rain under the pure sun." And I did that. I have learned that home isn't just a place, it's where we feel connected and at peace. While Tehran will always be special to me, Boston has become a place where I will build new memories. I love both cities. I have realized that home is not about where you are, but how you feel about the people and the moments around you.
Thank you, Jasmine. And that's the thing, we editors see this work and we don't see the faces, and now I got your name right, Jasmine, sorry. So it's wonderful to attach faces to the names of these wonderful pieces we've been working with. Thank you, Jasmine. Our next reader, some poetry from Andrey Goubanov. Andrey. One of our editors.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrey. I'm a student of Professor Laughlin's creative writing and publishing class, and also I was one of the editors responsible for publishing your poetry in the 10th issue of DRR Review. I write poetry in Russian and English, so today I'll read you my poem that was written simultaneously in these two languages, two separate versions of it. And it was also published with other poetry in DRR Review. And by the way, Professor Laughlin told me that there were not a lot of works recently published with translations, so I was very glad to contribute. So my poem is called In the Glass Maze. It is about my struggles with depression, obsessive thoughts, and anxiety. I will read you their English version first. Let's begin. In the glass maze. From wall to wall, reflection to reflection, from pain within the chest to mind in timely fashion, from dawn of life entrapped inside of a maze. It's made of glass, it whirls souls in a craze. At least that's what I feel. I see them all, their happy lives unfolding. I lost my soul, thus I am not holding to a dream, the one I never had, not holding to the love, the one I craved so bad. In the glass maze, may all my days diminish. In the glass maze, my pacing's never finished. At least that's what I feel. I had shattered glass and tried to break away. It's gleaming guiltily but won't regret the pain. I fear the worst when yelling through the walls. I have the moisture of tears, the hope I lost. Not only hope, the exit from the maze. Not only hope, the never-ending race. How much time left before I suffocate? How much time lost will I tolerate? At least that's what I feel. The thoughts one day will poke holes in skin, will rip and tear my flesh, and the maze will grin. From wall to wall, reflection to reflection, from pain within the chest to mind in timely fashion. That's the first version. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I will read you my Russian version of the poem. It's going to be my first time speaking Russian on the stage here in college, so I'm a little bit worried. Thank you. Спасибо. And let's start then. В стеклянном лабиринте, от той стены к другой и между отражений, от боли всей груди до мыслей извержений. В стеклянном лабиринте, темницей для меня, он стал с восходом солнца, где жизнь моя прошла. Так кажется порой. Смотря на радости других, как жизни их текут, я душу потерял, и пуст ее сосуд. Еще я потерял мечты, коих тут нет. Еще я потерял любовь, что дала свет. В стеклянном лабиринте дни скорби напролет, в стеклянном лабиринте не кончится поход. Так кажется порой. Стекло разбитое сверкает с угрызением, но лишь одна стена заменит отражением. Боясь ужасного, кричал, ответа нет. Здесь только тишина и слез блестящих след. Я гонку проиграл из гущи выходя. Тех стен, что долго знал, они есть часть меня. И сколько надо ждать удушья сей черед, и сколько потерять часов готов заход. Так кажется порой. Однажды все эти мысли из кожи слезут вон, оставя раны рваные лишь полчищу ворон. От той стены к другой и между отражений, от боли всей груди до мыслей извержений. Thank you so much for listening.
Good work. Love it. Thank you, Andrey. Our next reader is Jessica Carbonneau. Jessica.
I'm short. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess. This is my first time publishing something I've been writing since I was 8 years old. This poem is called Kindness. It's dedicated to a new friend I made named Esme right here on the campus. And I did receive 2 acts of kindness on the campus about a month ago that just touched me, so I was inspired. Kindness is giving the bracelet on your wrist to a new friend. Kindness is seeing a need and filling it without being asked when no one is watching. Kindness is making space for diversity. Kindness is a shoulder to cry on, a listening ear, or holding a door, especially on the elevator. Kindness is showing up, showing grace, and showing patience. Kindness is being patient and empathetic. Kindness is a smile. Kindness is forgiving others as well as yourself. Kindness is a strength. How strong will you be today?
Thank you, Jessica. Our next reader for some more poetry is Jewell. Will.
Poem I'll be reading is is repeating repetitive repetition. From the day we wake, we repeat ourselves. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Though life never quite feels so repetitive. Wake up, go to sleep, wake up, go to sleep. Look around, move around, look around, move around. Repetition can become draining. Go to class, do homework, go to class, do homework. Same hobbies every day, same hobbies every day. Eventually, happening soon, someday, sometime, sooner or later, the world starts to move around you, leaving you, abandoning you, forgetting you, saying goodbye, being discarded. Repetition holds us in place, getting stuck, going nowhere. You need to move, you need to keep up. Worst yet, it gives us comfort. Makes us afraid to move, afraid of the unknown. Be brave, don't stand still.
Thank you, Will. Our next reader is Melissa Hessler. Melissa.
All right. Hello. You guys ever been nervous before? Wait, can I have my phone? Okay, so yeah, my name is Melissa Hessler. I'm a part-time student here at Middlesex. This is also my first time ever being published. So I guess I realize we have kind of been talking about some hard topics already, but I did just want to give a content warning for my essay. It does talk about child abuse and suicide. If that's uncomfortable for anybody, please take care of yourselves and do what you need to do for yourself. And I apologize. Well, no, actually, I'm not going to apologize for my existence. Preface of this thing. Also, he's not here today, but I wanted to give a shout out to Carl Mason. I wanted to give a shout out to Carl Mason. He's an English professor here, and he was the inspiration behind this piece, really. Last semester, I had him for English Composition 1, and one of the essays he assigned was to have a photo and then write an essay about it, like completely open-ended. So for the background, because I'm going to pick up further down in my essay, towards the end of it, this is a photo of me at my work. I'm a server and a bartender, and that's a drink I made. But read the full thing online. So this photo first draws your attention to that pretty cocktail sitting atop the black granite of the bar. The glassware and liquor bottles gleam and glint out of focus in the warm yellow glow of the back bar. I stand back, looming, waiting for my next order. You can even make out some of the colors on the tattoos on my arm. It seems like a nice bar for a quick bite and a craft cocktail. After work on a Tuesday, maybe before you catch that 6 p.m. Food Network show at home. I never thought that I'd frequent places like this as a guest, let alone as a front of house employee. I never would have been able to conceptualize how healing it would be for me and how much I genuinely enjoy it or how fulfilling it would be. I enjoy being of service because my purpose in life is to make other people's lives better. It is a blessing and a curse derived from the agony I've experienced throughout my life. I do not want anyone to ever feel the way I have. They deserve better than that. My current job allows me to orchestrate a special moment for people to come together, to relax and enjoy. When I am able to do that and see it and know that it is in part due to my hard work and capability, I feel compersion for others. For so long, compersion was the only way I could experience happiness for myself. This is what makes me feel fulfilled. If I can be happy, or if I can make other people happy, then maybe I too could be happy. Originally, I enrolled at Middlesex Community College to change careers and become a registered nurse, because, hey, I'm already really good at bringing you a ginger ale. Soft skills transfer well to other fields, right? After 3 years of pursuing this goal part-time, I came to the realization that the field of psychology is my true passion. I tossed my foolproof 5-year plan out the window, like that of a customer copy of a bill that no one seems to take with them anymore at the restaurant. My current My current endeavor to reach my education and career goals is looking to be more of a 10-year plan than a 5-year plan. While I am terrified at the massive undertaking getting an education requires, I know that this is the right move for me. Becoming a licensed mental health counselor is my calling. The reason I endured everything that I had to. I want people to come to me with their concerns, their fears, their suffering, so that I may be there with them, to share the burden with them, to shoulder some of it for them, just for a moment, to truly hear them out and to see them for who they are in that moment. Once we can get to that place of understanding and acceptance, no matter how hurtful or ugly it may be, we can then begin to collaborate on their plans towards their own betterment and fulfillment. The pain or negativity may never fully leave, but at least together we can begin to box it up and stow it away on the shelf for a while, hoping that it'll collect dust over the years. Just as I have my dusty boxes of memories in my head, sometimes the rickety shelf folds under the weight of the boxes and spills its contents out for me to clean up again. Sometimes I intentionally take one down and revisit moments of insecurity and terror in hopes of discerning something more, or just to take a trip down memory lane, to remind me of how far I've come and how much I have to be grateful for. My boxes contain seemingly several lifetimes worth of memories and the many hats I've worn throughout my many different careers. One box in particular that always seems to require extra care contains the memories of when I was a little girl staying up late with my drunk father, starting around 6 or 7 years old, and continuing until we parted ways when I was 13, the same age he was when he left his family. As he would scream and he would cry about his own childhood abuse at the hands of his own blood family, his own mother's suicide, my mother's suicide attempts, and as he'd describe what it was like growing up in the Bronx alone, white, as a substance addict, as well as his intentions at the time of murdering the people who had wronged him until he had finally planned to end it all, culminating in his own suicide. After he'd finally let me go to sleep, I'd cry in my own bed and I'd develop plans for my own suicide while wishing that someone would stay up for me as I did for him. I want people to know that I understand just how painful it is to be in pain, to let them know that I see their struggle. I know that it's hard, but we'll get through this together. How may I be of service to you? It's nice and all to see people happy, a little buzzed at dinner, but have you ever seen someone get healthy? To pull themselves up from the depths of whatever is besieging their mind and their body? I believe that having a career as an LMHC will hold innumerable moments that will remind me that I am not a bad thing, that I was never a bad thing, and I do not deserve bad things. No one is a bad thing, and good people deserve good things. We are not meant to live our lives in a constant state of terror and torment. This change of career will be my next step in becoming the next version of that pretty, funny, and capable girl who works hard and feels satisfied and contented with herself. She is an amalgamation of all the past versions of her. She'll still have tattoos. She'll still not feel worthy of good things unless she does good herself, but she'll still be a damn good cook and able to make a mean drink. I wonder what else she'll be able to do, and if she'll always feel like the help, waiting in the background and staying up late while tirelessly but contentedly working for others' well-being. I wonder if she'll ever be able to love herself as much as she loves others. She thinks that if she works hard enough and does good enough, she might be worthy of their love someday. Not this Sunday, but maybe next Tuesday? Would 6 p.m. be okay?
Thanks, Melissa. Our next reader is Livkate Mejias. Livkate.
Okay, well, hello everybody. How are we? Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Well, I was in the issue. I was one of the editors for the 10th one, and I am very happy to be. And I am so proud of everybody who published their work. I really am. You guys did amazing. It was fabulous. I was just really glad that I got to be in the process of being a part of it and just experiencing different voices and everything. It was really powerful and passionate. I would be reading a poem that is based off of passing of my mother-in-law. This happened in March, and it was really a tough process for me, especially in March, because my boyfriend, he was dealing with a lot, the family was dealing with a lot, and so was I, and I just felt everything was going roller coaster and everything, so when I wrote this, it was just my final goodbye for her because I really wanted it to be proper. So I know she's up there, she's watching. I love you, Susan, I really do. I really hope you like this. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this piece. It's really personal. You can tell I'm in tears. Anyway, here we go. My last goodbye. My last goodbye. 2 years, only got to know you. I opened up too late. I wish I had more time. Chatting away on countless stories, making meals both laughable and heartwarming, creating reefs of all kinds, never stopping, lighting up the mood from laughter to smiles, working like no tomorrow, getting more done, having little money, yet gifting away, planting flowers of all kinds with joy, opening the door to any conversation. I got the call at 5:38 a.m. on March 3rd. I answered. What's wrong? My mom passed away. You're joking. No, I'm not. I cried. I cried. I cried. He cried. He cried. He cried. I thought you'd make it. You said you were okay. We thought you were getting better. No, you lied. You knew the complications, saying your last goodbyes. Sick for 2 weeks, and you called the ambulance too late. I never got to say goodbye. In times of need, you wanted space, never wanting others worrying. We all miss you. Your sons, husband, brothers, nieces, nephews, friends, and me. I'm glad I was your daughter. I came into the family 2 years ago, and you made it possible. You finally have peace. I bless you. I pray for you. I love you. Enjoy the time chatting away with Nana. Mama misses you. Drink all the A&Ws you want. No worries. Plant all the flowers you want for yourself. Your dogs are there by you, forever staying. I'll never forget the words you said to Brandon about us. Thank you.
Thanks, Liv. Our next reader is Finn Phillips. Finn.
My name's Finn. I'm going to be reading 2 poems today, if that's all right. They're both very short. The first one is called Kitchen. There was a scattering of claws on tile. I pressed my body to the ground, twice-time pulse. Yours or mine? Brushing my throat. I held my breath, waited for the punchline. And the second from around the same time is Poem About a Good Night's Sleep, which is a poem about a good night's sleep. We went out into the field of long grass. I held the lantern while she sought a place to nest and at last made herself one. Thank you. I piled dirt over her. Thank you. I piled heavy stones over her. Thank you. I dug until I could no longer see her form and the poppies marched up the hill. Then it was done. I knelt down, laid my hand and felt its side rise and fall with warm breath. I'll sleep well tonight.
And our next reader, thank you, Finn. Our next reader is Lakeisha Davis. Lakeisha.
Okay. So I just want to thank all the people who came before me, because I'm over here sitting there like, oh, I don't want to do this, but you guys gave me courage. Okay. I originally wrote this in honor of all the instruments that were destroyed a few years ago due to the pipe leak at Low High School. During my high school years, I really loved playing an instrument, even though I was new at it. It was a great time of my life, and it's just sad for it all to come an end just because of circumstances. And so to honor it, to honor the instruments, my bandmates, and those pleasant memories, I wrote this poem for them. Okay. Rest of our art. Hidden below ground, roots may grow, yet dreams of creativity sow. The 100-year-old building of dreams settled easily above fragile stems, and a euphonium rests among its friends, bows and prayers to make amends. She asks for forgiveness, for the water flows and grows in mass. Their time is coming to an end, yet the euphonium makes a single wish, calls in a favor among the dead. Let us sing our final song, so the gods have mercy on us, as rust may take our body, invading this place we belong. She gathers her fellow brass sisters. She gathers those who would face the disaster. She gathers those who would listen. From the bottom of their soul, they scream a melodious tune to be heard among the waves for mercy. Thank you.
Thanks, Lakeisha. Our next reader for some fiction is Teddy Anganes. Teddy.
You guys really expect me to follow up after all of this? So I can't. You should have set me first so I could lower the bar a little bit. This is a short story that I wrote pretty much in one go. It was just a huge burst of inspiration. That tends to be how things go for my writing. This was inspired by a song by the band Lord Huron called Dead Man's Hand. Pretty much a reimagining of it. This is The Wayfarer. The empty straight road was the only thing splitting the infinite expanse of trees at either side of me. I drove endlessly and aimlessly under the pale moon that shone bright enough to light the dead of night. Far in the distance, my headlights caught something in the road. A deer carcass, I thought, but it only took a couple yards before I understood what I saw. I stomped on my brakes to a full stop and stepped out of the car. There in the light of my high beams was the body of a man, face down in the road. He was wearing a brown leather jacket and ripped jeans. His black hair was unusually well combed. It was just him out there. No car, no bike, no backpack, no blood, nothing. I dug my arms under the body and rolled him over. He was just a kid. Couldn't have been any older than 25. The right side of his face was torn away as if someone had held it to a belt grinder. His eyes were closed. At least he had been granted that peace. The skin he still had was as pale as chiseled marble. He'd been dead for some time. I sighed and weighed my options and considered my destination. Nowhere. Hooking beneath his arms, I dragged the frigid body out of the road to the tree line. I returned to my car and pulled the shovel from the trunk. Might as well attempt to bury the poor kid, I thought. There in the dirt at the edge of the wilderness, I sat as I lit up a cigarette to calm the nerves I should have been having. At least it warmed my chest. Simply recalling the macabre scene convinces me now that this was the lowest moment of my life. I could not recount what sat in my head at that moment, lost in nowhere with a dead body and a cigarette. That might just be it, though. There was nothing left to go through inside there, having run so many fruitless circles. As I carelessly cycled the smoke like a machine, staring off ahead at nothing in particular, I felt a cold hand grip my jacket. I jolted away as the body of the young man groaned, coughed, and lifted itself up, as though awakening from a groggy sleep. His resting lids opened to reveal eyes glazed over in a milky white color. "Who are you?" the kid asked in a tone entirely unfazed by his situation. I hadn't the wherewithal to respond. Whether I was dreaming, dead, or experiencing some horrible miracle, I could not begin to narrow down. "Were you going to bury me?" he asked, seeing the shovel beside him. You were lying dead in the road," I managed. "You were dead." The kid looked at his hands as if checking to see if they were naught but bones. "I guess not," he said, slapping dirt from his jeans. Slapping dirt from his jeans, he stood up, so I followed suit on shaking knees. His eyes reflected like a dog's on my car's headlights as he looked my way. "You got a smoke to spare, man? I'm freezing." With trembling hands, I pulled a pack from my jacket and held over a cigarette to him. He leaned close to me as I flicked my lighter and met it to the cigarette in the side of his mouth that still had skin. The flame showed me in harrowing detail the dry tendons and taut muscles, and what hid within the nose whose right nostril was absent. He closed his eyes in bliss as he inhaled deep. As he blew out, smoke billowed through his exposed teeth and out his open cheek, the light of the smoldering ash illuminating his glassy white eyes. "Thanks, man," he said, with a solidarity only two men in a strange situation could have. "What brings you so far out here at an hour like this?" "Traveling," I said. "How'd you get out here? Some thugs dump you in the road?" "I don't know." His marble eyes turned downward with a melancholy. "I don't remember anything of what happened. It's like a dream." "You want to ride? Where are you heading?" "I don't know." The boy stared off into the woods in silence, ashes drifting off of his cig. Coyotes howled from the deep of the trees, and a single crow called a single caw. If you want to know what happens, you're going to have to head over to deadriverreview.com and read the rest of it.
Good work, Teddy. Little taste. Get us hooked. Yes, we want more. Our next reader, a couple more readers. Michelle Whalen. Let's hear some poetry from Michelle, one of our editors.
Hello. I am Michelle. I am here for my third semester. I'm majoring in creative writing, but I'm also interested in screenwriting and filmmaking too, so we'll see what I do with my life. This is a poem about Brighton, Massachusetts, where I grew up, and I did leave for Florida, Tampa specifically, for about 25 years, and I was back recently, so that gives you a little background. It's called 02135, circa 1981. Feral is a cat without a home. Feral is a girl left all alone. Latchkey, Atari, the little boy ghost, my brother, the freezer, tongue frosted the most. Sacred was a girl all dressed in white. Sacred was the chicken pox for that child bride. Guilt absolved, passed the plate high. Sins confessed, ice cream cone Christ. Feral is a girl watching pornos at night. Sacred are the sitters in her early life. Wind through the sills, whistling rattles. Playgirl, Tom Selleck, Cinemax scrambles. Satin sheets, pink rollers, makeup is Annie's. Turnpike noise lulls, grinding teeth, flannel jammies. All skate at Wallack's, Friday night meet. Handlebar ride home, streetlights to beat. Sacred is Sunday dinner that's eaten at 2. A feral fight for charred ends and a glass of blood au jus. Packing, goodbye, triple-decker sold. I took a slice of tree with a decoupaged pope. Last hope, lost cottage, home at the Weirs. Family legacy thrown away through projectile tears. Sacred are memories of childhood homes. Feral is the girl who took a lifetime to roam. Sacrilege is returned to unwelcome tones. Feral is righteous. I will not atone. A girl is home now and not alone. Thank you.
And I think we had someone had an allergic reaction who was going to read and is unable to, one of our editors. But we are going to hear from some of our editors, maybe to say just a little bit about their process and anything they want to say to these wonderful contributors. But want to ask you to give a big round of applause for everyone who read today and for all the contributors of issue 10. Please enjoy. It's a wonderful, wonderful issue, and there's such variety, richness, and I was so proud of the team of editors who were with me all the way, getting word out to people and talking to people in classes and getting signs around and trying every way they could to get contributions out there. And because of their work, we got lots of submissions, and we have wonderful work that we were able to select from those many, many selections that were submissions that were given to us. So a lot of great work in editing and posting and creating wonderful posts. As you saw, images that go with each were selected by the editorial teams. There are 3 groups, and want to have someone from each group say a few words. And we just had someone had to leave with a reaction. But Andrey, can you say something from your group and just say hello? No? Sure. A couple words and step up. Andrey Goubanov.
Hello, everyone, again. I was glad hearing your wonderful poetry and fiction and creative nonfiction. It was pretty awesome. Though the work process itself was very tiring, I would say. Yeah. A couple of last weeks were hell, honestly, for me. But I'm glad that my co-editors and our chief editor, Professor Laughlin, were able to manage, look through all of your submissions, pick out the best ones for you to enjoy and publish. So thank you so much for your contributions to this 10th anniversary issue of Dead River Review. And don't forget, keep writing and bringing light to this world through poetry.
Thank you, Andrey. And we had 3 groups, and it wasn't only, but mostly, most of the poetry went to Andrey and Bllu and Sreya, and creative nonfiction, media, artwork went to, they're back there going like this, Michelle and Liv. So one of you want to say, maybe come up and say a word? How about stepping up, Michelle, so people know? Sure. Say a quick word about your process and some reflections you have.
All right, well, I'm back here again. How lovely. I feel I've been here too many times. I just want to say thank you all again for contributing to this magazine. It was really fascinating reading all your works again. I love seeing the music, the art, and the essays. Oh, those were so emotional and powerful. I can feel, I like to say duende, which is like an inner energy. Yes, thank you. Energy, passion. It's just so beautiful and thriving. But the process of this, if I'm honest, it was fucking hell at times, but especially with how we had to deal with time and making sure things were formatted, and we had little issues. But you know, we pushed through. We kicked ass. I gotta shout out to her. I mean, yeah, my co-editor right here, she still kicked ass, and I did too, even when under the stress. And laughing also with everything he's dealing with and everything. I really appreciate how you still stand strong and everything, my man. I mean, keep on kicking ass and everything. No, but thank you again for giving us your work and letting us review it. We took our time, energy, and we just wanted to make sure everything was polished and it looked good, up to the standard. So just thank you again, and give yourself a round of applause. Keep on creating, please.
It was an honor to read your work.
And just some background on the process before our group 1 steps up to say things, and that is there are 3 teams. They focused on certain areas. As I mentioned, the group 1 was fiction, but everyone, they put forward the best work, and then everyone, all the editors made the full decisions. And it was democratic vote on things, and everyone read the work that is submitted here and said, yeah, this is work we want to publish. So be proud of that. So maybe group 1 fiction, are you the old man here today? I think you are. I don't know, your two compadres have left you, but come on, well.
So I'm Will Jewell. It was Editorial Group 1 with fiction. All the submissions were great. Without the submissions, we wouldn't have the magazine at all, so that's pretty nice. They were great to read. They were a joy to read. The submissions were incredible, quite simply. The process, as others have said, it was difficult. Reading through a lot of work while juggling schoolwork can be difficult. It was also really informative, getting to learn how we read as writers, reviewing our own work, developing our own writing, as well as seeing other people's work and just seeing how other people write. And in a sense, not so much writing too much, but being the reader, being on that other end this time. It was all really informative and really helpful, really insightful and all that. So.
And we had 8 editors, a couple not here, unfortunately, today, but we want to give a round of applause for all the editors and everyone who did work, and thank you all for being here, and hope you enjoy this wonderful issue 10. So let's hear it for all the work here. Good work. I'm very proud of this issue. I feel it's a really special issue, and people did some amazing work. Please stick around, talk with the editors. They'd love to see a face and chat with you and talk and ask questions about process, anything. There's plenty of food here. Please stick around, have some fun. And again, thanks, and enjoy this wonderful issue. Thanks, everybody. Take care.